Was the show actually better in the past, or is it just nostalgia? Fairly interesting point to generally divulge into, because it's a lot of things you hear when people say, "Oh, I remember when soaps were better. That was when they were just complaining about the price of bread." We already did a video kind of discussing this. But that was like 6 months ago, and we've developed leaps and bounds since then.
I'm just gonna immediately, if you don't mind, I'm immediately gonna just put this out there, because again, to me, soaps kind of are like wrestling. To me personally, it's about the time frame you got into it.
Yeah.
Because the time frame you get into it is the time frame you're going to be nostalgic. No matter if it's shit. No matter like if it's like Karen Taylor smoking a cigarette going, well, these woke people are trying to cancel Speedy Gonzalez, fucking woke gone mad. Like, you're still going to be nostalgic for it.
And Speedy Gonzalez.
But fuck that fucking me as well. But yeah, like, you know, you're gonna be nostalgic for the era you got into, no matter how shit it is. Like, that's me and Ash again, just to use the wrestling example. Me and Ash both started watching wrestling when it was in a dire time in the 2010s, and like people go, "It wasn't great in the 2010s." We know it wasn't, but we love it.
Yes.
Like again,
I like even in the wrestling, even in the YouTube, in the EastEnders example. There we are. As much as 2019, 2018 EastEnders was absolute wank. You know, my favourite characters at the time were fucking Hayley Slater. Like,
I love Hayley.
It's don't like her anymore. But you know,
I still do.
You like what the time you got into, and if you do stop watching there, you just go, I don't like it now because I don't know any of the characters. And it's like, yeah, but that's because you're stuck like 2018's here. And then you watch like 2 episodes and you're like, I don't understand what's going on. And it's like, yeah, it's because you haven't fucking given it any time yet.
The problem, the best time to get into soaps, me personally, because this is coming from a person who's been a lapsed EastEnders fan for years. The best time to get into it is Christmas or New Year, where the storylines are finished and the new storylines are going to come in. Because that means then, even if you don't know the characters, you will hear Stacey saying, "Oh, Suki, how are you? Suki, how are you? Suki." Like, you know what I mean? Very on the nose, going, this is a new character. Say hello to Eve.
It's very specific that obviously at Christmas it's the bill to everything that's been paid off. So it's kind of a poison chalice at times, because sometimes the show is just worse for onwards, where you're like, oh, that was fucking sick. Yeah, this is great. The second week of January, you're hanging out your ass. You're like, you had like 20 beers last night, and you're like, oh fuck, why am I seeing Ian fucking shave his ass? Like, what is this nonsense? You know, it is a poison chalice to get into at Christmas time, but it also is just fundamentally the best time of the year. If people genuinely didn't watch it all year but just watched it at Christmas, I still think you'd have a pretty fun time, because it is good. But I do get it though. I do wholly understand watching like soap stuff from the past and being like, oh, this is so much better. But I think it also does come down to there being a whole lot of familiarity there, right? Where it's what you know, rather than it's what you don't know. And, like, it also just depends, because you can go ahead and watch what may be seen as one of the best years in the show's history, and then compare it to, like, modern day. Like, if you're watching
85.
I don't know, 85. I say more 86 or something, because 85 is, like, not seen as that great. But like, even when you watch that and you're going through all the Den and Angie stuff, you're like, yeah, this is great. there are still a lot of glaring issues that you don't really think about at the time. Like, if there's one thing to say about, like, classic EastEnders is, it's a bit fucking slow. It's really fucking slow, and there's not much edge. It is a lot more grounded, and it's a lot more family-oriented, which is something that they want to do. They want to reincorporate now, realizing those are some of the core things of the show. But ultimately, you know, it's just... You know when people are like, that's not my Jack Branning, and then like their Jack Branning's like Jack like 20 years ago when he was all like sexy, and he still is. All sexy and like vibing, you know, just with Ronnie. Like, you know, you don't often challenge a lot of these like cool things. You have your idea of what is the cool shit in the soap, and those are some of your favorite storylines. Like, maybe you just watched the Who Killed Lucy Beale and you're like, yeah, it's fucking great, I love this, and then they don't do another whodunit for years. You know, that's how you're gonna view it. But I think at the end of the day, the main take is it comes and goes. I personally believe we're currently heading to a gold age in EastEnders. I've been saying it all fucking year. We're heading into a golden age.
We've both been saying it.
Yeah, we've been saying it. We've been saying it since February, pretty much. Because this year it took a bit to get into. I think January was fucking shit because we still had to finish up some of the overhanging stuff from last year, like the Keeble stuff, and like we had to finish up some of that. But like the second we headed towards the February and the flash forward, that's when everybody's been really excited about the year. Then we got to see Ian and Cindy's return, the knights arriving, like the Suki and Eve stuff going, like, oh fucking hell. You know, we've gotten to see a lot of the really exciting stuff happen over this year. And depending on how well received the Christmas ending is, I do think that if they make the right choice, they call off the right person, we are genuinely heading towards a golden age, because now you have a very high-profile storyline involving a lot of the very high-profile characters, and it'll be a good blend of the old and the new. The new characters will be bedded in finally, and the old characters will have a good reason to be at the forefront of the show and carry it towards the 39th anniversary, and then the Christmas, and then the 40th anniversary. Like, we'll see a lot of the signs that the writers have been long-term planning what they're going to do, which will give the show just what it needs to kind of keep a lot of the soap audience from the Christmas.
I was going to say another example of that's not my character. I know she's been dead for a year now, but Dot Branning. Dot Branning?
Yes.
I think that's her name.
Dot
Sorry, I keep forgetting Dot's last name half the time. It's like, that's not my Dot Branning. And it's like, what's your Dot Branning? Oh, I say. Oh, fair enough. You fucker. You fucker. Now she's 6'4", 6'4", 5'9" in my 6-inch boots. God, oh, that comes to my head straight away. But yeah, she's 6 foot under and fucking going up in heaven saying to Ethel, oh, I say, where's your willy? Where's your willy, Ethel?
They don't like that in heaven. Stop. Yeah, I think
Jesus comes in, I found your willy.
I think that... Plus, I think that oftentimes a lot of people will compare a lot of these older characters to new characters. Like, everybody's going to compare fucking Elaine to Peggy. And Elaine isn't better than Peggy at all. Like, but there are a lot of differences in the character. I think they're both remarkably selfish. And only really... And, like, their number one love is the pub, and number 2 is them. And number 3 is the children. Like, that's generally how it's viewed with both characters. But I think people just have a big tendency to like they compare it to what you saw before. And soaps are moving very fast. They're on like 250 times a year. There's 4 episodes a week. There's 52 weeks in a year. There's like 258 or so episodes a year. Like that's a lot of fucking time.
Like I obviously told this story before, but it's like my American friend Dion. When I told him I co-host and co-run watching sub channel. And I said, so subs take a break, right? And I'm like, no. I said, what do you mean? I go, they run year round. They don't really stop. They ramp up at Christmas. I'm confused. So they don't stop? No. And it's a year-long thing, yeah. But it's filmed months in advance. It's like, fucking hell. How do you watch all of it? Because you can't just click on the 12th of June 2023 and know what's happening.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which I agree. Imagine just sitting there going, I'm gonna watch a random episode of EastEnders. Fucking the last week of 2022. But yeah, that's my example.
No, that's fair enough. It's a good take, but once again, it's another video where we talk our own opinions for 10 minutes and then go to the Reddit comments. Because maybe they'll have a much more interesting take than us. But yeah, I think just fundamentally, it comes and goes. Obviously, you're going to like the characters you know and probably not give as much of a chance to the characters you don't know. Because maybe you watched it in 2008 earnestly and you're like, yeah, this is great. And then it's no longer 2008 and you've moved on with your life. Well, now you're not really going to give it as much time. Like, you watch soaps as a kid, you got more time. You're not fucking busy all the day. You wanting to really watch 2 hours of soaps a week just to fucking get by. Like, maybe some weeks you just skip it. You don't know what's going on. But it's an interesting topic to think about. But I think it's just generally, I think that, yeah, everybody has their favorite characters, and once they're gone, it becomes a bit harder to go through. But just like how the way that I now actually really enjoy Strictly is when I watched it in previous seasons, I basically watched it for just one or two couples. Last year, I watched it for James By, and the woman who played like Zainab, in EastEnders as well, like Nadia, I don't know, something like that. But regardless, I was just watching the show for one fucking dance. And that's just not a good way to enjoy a show like Strictly. But once you open it up a bit more, you start getting invested in all these other fuckers who you don't give a shit about before the show. That's where it becomes a lot more fun. I think a lot of people who do go back and be like, yeah, EastEnders was so good 20 years ago, would try watch it now, would watch 2 episodes and be like, oh, I don't like it now, it's different.
It's your own take, personally. That's all I can say. I'm not gonna argue it yet, but if I fucking hear bring back a fat boy comment again, I'm gonna fucking lose my shit. I'm gonna flip a lid, being like, the show's not good because fat boy's in it. He's not coming back. Get over it. Ronnie and Roxy will come back before him. I'm still pissed about this. Fucking fat boy is a touchy subject for me. He's a touchy subject.
Alright, let's get into the Reddit thread though. There's been a lot of discourse in recent years about the state of EastEnders and how, according to many, the show is significantly better in the past than it is nowadays. Honestly, I'm not sure where I land on this one. Also, I know I fucking derailed this multiple times, but last year I watched Hollyoaks 2015. This year I watched Hollyoaks 2015. And I significantly enjoyed Hollyoaks 2015 than I probably did watching Hollyoaks 2023. But that's simply because Hollyoaks 2023 is in a much worse place as a whole. They've lost their fucking TV deal. They haven't lost the TV deal, but it's not on TV anymore. It's on all 4. They've had to and YouTube now, which is cool. They've had to completely change out the producers and kind of there was a coup in the writing team. 2015 was probably a much more fun year of Hollyoaks for me, simply because it felt a lot more together and it felt like they had a lot more direction. But I'm not gonna fucking say that Hollyoaks 2023 has been the worst shit ever, because it is constantly getting better. So yeah, and even fucking in the Christmas breakdown trailer, in the Winter 2023 trailer, they fucking pulled a massive swerve on us, and nobody knew, and it's like, they're fucking back, boys, because it was fantastic. This thing that's been built up for months, you feel like you know these characters. Well, you fucking don't anymore, because there's actually an alternative plan, and it's like, all right, we're going somewhere now. Like, fucking saddle up, boys. Yeah, just wanted to mention that, because, you know, I'm not immune to it. But yeah, it's a fun little thing to go through. So, person says, on the one hand, I've been rewatching a bunch of 2008, 2011 episodes lately, enjoying the hell out of it. It certainly seems better than EastEnders we have today. The writing seems leaps and bounds better, and you care about pretty much everything, so you're watching it. However, on the other hand, I don't know if it's really fair to say episodes from 15 years ago are definitely better than the episode that have just been released. Those older storylines have had over a decade to sit and build nostalgia. A lot of classic EastEnders characters were around back then, but aren't around today, so there could be an element of nostalgia that makes old EastEnders seem much better. Not to mention the fact that we can just binge watch all of the old storylines, but have to watch the newer storylines piece by piece without knowing where it's headed, making it sometimes frustrating to sit to. I mean, it's why I really got through a lot of classic EastEnders back in the day. Like, I watched like 60 episodes in the span of like 3 weeks. Like, I was busting out like fucking 20 a day, just chilling. Because it's so easy to watch. You just truck through it, and you kind of gloss over some of the shit that you don't really care about. Like, yeah, sure, the 2008-2011 episodes are great, but remember the baby swap storyline? You know? Remember the there's just there's a lot of stuff that doesn't age particularly well. And like, remember Billy's weird love interest from the care homes that he was brought up in? Because I fucking don't. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you don't remember at the time, but you just go, that shit, that. Back of the brain. There we are. Let's see what people have to say. Someone simply says it goes through phases. Exactly. It's not always going to be grand. I still, as much as 2018 was the time I got into it, in retrospect, I know that it was a pretty dodgy time in EastEnders, knowing what I know now, but at the time, that didn't harp on me watching it and enjoying it. Someone says, there's a lot of nostalgia attached to the golden years of EastEnders. There were some iconic characters and storylines, yes, but I don't know that it was much better. Objectively, EastEnders has always gone through a phase of being less good than viewers would ideally like it. When we think of old EastEnders, we think of the big characters and the big storylines, and we forget there were filler episodes then too. The show seems to be on a rise at the minute, which is pleasing, but personally I'd wish they'd lose some heavy reliance on the gangster type. On the gangster type families, characters / plots.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but who's a gangster in the current show?
Nish.
Kind of. Like, at best
Ravi.
you have at best you have Phil and you have Ravi, and that's it. They're not relying for shit on those gangster plots.
Grant.
He's dead. He's not dead. He's just not been there in fifth. Like, but you know,
he's out there fighting people with guns.
But I will just say, I don't think that I think the crime aspect has definitely watered down over the years. Like, but you know, they do sometimes just love to go, Phil's doing a job again. It's like, guys, please. It seems to really taken root over the years. Where's Ethel and her little Willie? It's not that little. Fucks, come on, be nice.
Little is a bit harsh. He's a bit chubby, okay? He's a chubby Willie.
Where's Kathy's knitting empire? The old knitting machine, great time. Yeah, where's the episode where Ian and fucking Kelvin are having to bathe Willie, but Willie's just making a fucking mess because he's a little grumpy bitch, so he's just fucking splashing water through. Oh, that episode's great fun.
Oh, we need to watch that episode and fucking react to it.
It's a great episode. Arthur pottering around in his allotment. I miss all the mundane stuff now. That's all crime lords and long drawn out plots. He was not necessarily better, but there are parts of it that would be welcomed back with open arms. By this, watched it from the very beginning, viewer at least. I do agree in a sense. It felt like everybody was a lot more connected back in the day. Like, it felt like there was a lot of... Like, some people go years without fucking talking. Which, that doesn't happen. I mean, it kind of does, but it also doesn't really happen when you're on a very small fucking street that is Walford, right? You're in a small little, like, borough of London.
Town.
You run into fucking everyone all the time. And you know, like you'd have like Lou Beale and Ethel. They're talking to Saeed and Neymar. They're fucking going through like, oh, what's happened? Yeah, it's Reg. And then Sue would be like, yeah, it's Reg. He's fuck Reg. He's a prick. Hate Reg. It's just, you know, everybody would be talking about the same things. It did feel a bit more like a community. It was a lot more family oriented. But I mean, it has to advance in ways that sometimes may be better for the show, but not so much like better if you like that old timey like kind of feel.
It's the thing is, you can't stay in the 80s. Let's be honest. You can love the 80s, you can love the 90s, but you have to move on and adapt. Because if you're doing the 80s kind of style, where everyone's connected, it's like,
fucking boring.
Watch my Willie, you watch my Willie, I'll watch your Willie, and then it's like, you get sick of it over the years. All right, let's just look at that. Let's look at it from hypothetically speaking. So let's say from 1985 to 2023, it's the same show. Nothing has changed except for the characters, because no way Lou Beale's on the show till now. Except for the characters, nothing has changed. It'd be boring.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be boring. You need to adapt. That's why the 2000s are like a more grimy time. And same with the 90s, because the 90s is where the grunge era came in, where everything was fuck the man, fuck the system, fuck woke culture, fuck everything. And that's where the 2000s was like, okay, the 90s was here, everyone's doing crack and cocaine, we're relaxing now. And then the 2010s was just a weird time, and now we're in the 2020s where we just had COVID.
Yeah.
And like, that's all. Like, could you imagine if soaps couldn't mention COVID? I would be so clueless. Do you remember that pandemic? The pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, we can't ignore these things. That's why we have to adapt.
No, I do agree. I definitely wouldn't have. Well, it's just, it's hard to. You have to adapt, and like even by 89, they were doing some, like, you know, they introduced. By 87, they introduced patent prostitution. 88, 89, there was a lot more hard drugs being used. There was heroin. There was, you know, there's a lot more drug use. Like, it's not like they didn't fucking do these kind of like gritty storylines.
But to add on to that, it's because people tend to forget that. They want to remember what they enjoyed, and they don't want to remember all these gritty storylines.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, I know this is going to be an out there example. It's like if you have a favorite singer, and then your favorite singer turns out to be a racist, a pedophile, but like, he's a great singer, guys. You're going to disregard all the bad things the singer has done, and fucking just go, he's a great singer, guys. Kind of the same for soaps, where it's like, yeah, even though there was rape, there was fucking kidnappings, there was all that, it was a great time in the show, it's like, yeah, but you can't compare 1985 to 2023.
Yeah.
It's like comparing a jam sandwich from 1965 to 2023. The sandwich is going to be out of date.
It's like comparing fucking sweets from like, even sweets from when I was growing up to sweets now. They're not as fucking tasty as they used to be. The fizzy drinks aren't as tasty as they used to be. Because they were banging in harmful shit in there. they were banging in awful shit in there. Or this fucking horrendous like fucking additive that's gonna give you cancer in your 60s. Ah, bloody hell, fucking have some more of that. And like, you're fucking gunning off the walls. Like, there's so much more dodgy shit in there that's probably not in there now. It's like how in like 20 years people are going to realise how bad vaping is for you. But now it's like, oh yeah, just vape. It's better than smoking. It's like, well, it's probably going to fuck you up just as much. Not in the same way, but you know, it's the kind of it's a thing you don't realise at the time, but in retrospect you kind of go, yeah, but I was better, wasn't it? And yeah, Jamie Oliver fucking, what are you poor kids all eating like shit? Because we're poor and that's all we can afford. Oh, that's fucking disgusting. It's like, cheers, Jamie. Cheers, mate. I can't enjoy my turkey drumsticks now because they're too fatty for you, you little fucking shite bag. My chicken dippers ain't nutritious enough. I don't care. It's all we can afford. Fucking Jamie Oliver, you prick.
But again, it is that kind of thing. We can't compare the past to the present because everything was different in the past. Like, again, that's like saying, oh, black people have rights for years. It's like, really, pal? Really, pal? And then you're like, the gays were never a big issue until the 2010s when Barack Obama came in. You're like, what the fuck are you smoking?
Yeah, just completely disregarding... Yeah,
I do love. I will admit though, I do love that. I do love them comments where like the gayness was invented by Barack Obama. Fucking Barack Obama in the lab doing the fucking Powerpuff Girls. Just fucking add a bit of Spice, add a bit of Rihanna, add a bit of Katy Perry. Boom! The gays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are the gays and we are here.
Hold on. Did you say the Spice Girls or the Powerpuff Girls?
Powerpuff Girls, you know the intro.
Yeah,
the fucking man's pouring in all the chemicals to create them. Barack Obama's just doing that in a lab somewhere.
It's just like the creator of the gays, the Powerpuff Girls. Fucking hell.
He created the gays.
Well, it's not to say that you can. You have to accept everything within the context it was made, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's sure, the 2020 episodes are gonna be weird. Because they had to do all the COVID protocols. They had to do all the shit to keep it going. Why did EastEnders stop in 2020? Well, there was this thing called the pandemic that people couldn't go outside. Like, you have to observe it within the context. But you're not really, when people are addressing, oh, it used to be so much better in the past, it's usually just forgetting all the bad shit in that time that they just hated. Just thought it was garbage.
Yeah. It's like when people give out to me, like, we shouldn't be using the N-word in movies. I'm like, it depends on the context of fuckers. Of Mice and Men needs the N-word because that's the movie. It's based in Southern America in the 1930s. You're allowed to use the word when it's based on a book or it's in the context of the era. Of course not now, I understand, but fuck's sake, lads.
Just seeing Piggy just walk
Still
up to the line every single time. Just wait, oh, please.
This video's been absolutely. This has just been me ranting about fucking everything that people are cancelling.
Make it stop.
Bring back Speedy Gonzales. I tell you that.
It's like one day Piggy will reel it in. Alright, but yeah, let's get through more of the fucking comments. Someone's made a really cool one. Not this one. Haven't read this one. A bit of column A, column B. I would say some of the big storylines were better in the past, but the amount of filler was insane. I think more characters get proper stories now in the past. Let's say I'd take Felix over Minty any day. I feel like everybody... I mean, we vaguely mentioned it before, so I'm not going to spend too much. But I did feel like everybody was a lot more connected. But yeah, we already talked about that at length. Someone says, what past are we talking about here? Because in a show of 40 years, we can cherry pick whatever years and compare and contrast as much as possible. I mean, the Sen era of 2021 is the past, and would people say that's better than the current show? No. Kirkwood's era of...
Right, I have to kind of chime in here. I know 2021 is the past, but it's still present. Like, 2021 will be the past when we get to 2031. If that makes any sense. That sounds confusing. Or even 2026 when we get there. So you can compare the last 5 years.
It's obviously it's not as in the history book as the previous one, right? Fucking.
I'm on Club Orange.
He's got vodka Club Orange. Just down the fucking pub. Right, see, the bloody thing is, right, people saying the words that you can't use. Well, it's fucking pointing that. Like, what's fucking going on?
I just want to say the F slur openly. Why can't I say that? And that slur is fuck.
Jesus. Just dancing on all the lines. Even Dominic Treadwell Collins passed the Lucy reveal, or before for me. Sean O'Connor and then York in 2016, 2017, 18 respectively, nonce Michelle era. Yeah, you can cherry pick what you view as the past, what was your time of watching it, and say that was better, but fundamentally, for the most part, usually, it fucking wasn't. Someone says, sure, if you want to pick out specific years like many people like and glorify, then I guess back in the day was better. But it's just pulling out certain points in the show's 40-year history. This, also kind of ignoring the era you're bringing up, 2008 to 2011, is a modern favourite. Back in the early and mid-2000s, many people were saying EastEnders were better in the 90s and that the show had lost its way. I remember the chaos that came from Grant leaving.
I was going to say exactly, yeah. Even in the 90s, they're going the 80s was better.
Yes. Remember the chaos that came from Grant leaving? I remember the chaos from Den leaving and how that ruined the show. That's the thing. Even in 2008, the show was better in 86, and nothing in 2008 to 2011 compared with 85 to 89 with the original writers and producers for the viewers. Key point being for the writers and for the producers and viewers, because, that was EastEnders at its core. That's what the start was. That's what a lot of people went, this is great. Then obviously 89 hit, the producers changed. Now they're doing a bit more sensationalized stuff, right? Maybe they're moving a bit away from the family aspect. Maybe they're going a bit more towards the crime, a bit more towards a bit grittier, like it's a good point to say that fucking it also just all comes down to preference as to what you liked. Do you like the more family drama? Well, you love the 80s. Do you like the fucking crime stuff? Well, you'll love you'll love 93 onwards. Do you like it when EastEnders started to feel a bit more like a fucking Hollywood blockbuster? You'll love the mid-2000s. It's each aspect is a different part that people enjoy less or more depending on what their perception of soaps are. And then they carry on though. They carry on. That's the thing. Wait, no, I already said that one. Someone says, you want a real trip? Back in 1986, there were problems with the show being seen as not as good as the initial months of 85. There were complaints with the show that lost its edge, which led to the introduction of pattern stories like Pat and Mary's prostitution. The show has literally always been better back in the day. When Corey was always rather beautifully consistent, until now, In its values, tone, and presentation, EastEnders always had this odd habit of jumping up and down in various ways, with producers often having vastly different visions than their predecessors. Very fucking good point. I respect that. It was very good. It's pretty fucking good. It was a good take and pretty reasonable. But there's more. There's always more. Someone says 2011 was actually one of the show's worst years, and the show of 2023 is a million times better than that. Yes, based, queen, based, W, purple ash,
Guys, can we get
8W, not my alt, I swear.
Guys, can we get a W in the chat, guys?
And understand bigging up 2008 to 2010, but the bulk of Kurtwick's era was atrocious, and everyone said so and complained without hesitance at the time. You're just blinded by nostalgic rose-tinted spectacles. Yeah, the 2011 to 2012 period was an absolute mess. I mean, killing Pat alone should sink that era into the abyss. But overall, it had this very strange, overly excessive, extreme feeling to it that was some awkward version of Hollyoaks. Oh, you don't want to do that. The EastEnders people don't like the Hollyoaks. 2008 to 2010. I do think there was a time element to these too. For example, look at how the Who Killed Archie storyline had Stacey be raped solely as a plot device for a shock value murder and a shock death later. She gets no proper storyline or impact from her rape or any real exploration. Who Killed Archie is an iconic story, but if the exact same aired today, I guarantee people will be ripping into the show for its treatment of Stacey's sexual assault and the way it was used for sensationalism, and rightfully so, or rightly so, I do the same. Fair, good take. Look, I'm sorry, not to just shit on the entire EastEnders fandom, but sometimes, and look, the bulk of our content is going through Reddit threads. So, we do go through a lot of opinions where people seem to lack the ability to fucking think and actually go, huh, I fucking hate this storyline, it's over soon. It's Christmas soon. When do you reckon it's gonna pay off?
If you here we go now. Piggy's gonna walk the line again. Here we go. So I'm basically gonna say, in the 80s and 90s, you had nowhere to complain. You could go up to your neighbour Dave and go, "Fucking EastEnders is shit." He's probably not watching EastEnders. He's probably a Curry fan. Not Curry. Sorry. Like, you had nowhere to complain in these times, and then slowly in the 90s and 2000s,
the internet.
I was going to get onto that. In the late 90s and early 2000s.
If we do have people who did watch it in the 80s and the 90s, would love to get your opinions, because someone suggested a video idea suggesting we give a take of what people thought about the show 20 to 30 years ago, but it's very hard to retroactively go through and figure out what people thought, as there'd just be a lot of scrolling through forums and trying to figure out what the impact was, and that's a lot of effort that I don't have. So if you did watch it from the start and you were complaining at the time, what do you think of current show that you did 20 years ago? There we are. That's the plug for that video that'll never be made.
Yeah, and I just want to say, so you had chat rooms in the late 90s, mid 2000s, and then slowly when Reddit became more of a thing, people had Reddit, of course, and then when Twitter became...
All the dodgy shit fan sites.
And then obviously when Twitter and Instagram and just social media blew up in the late 2000s and the early 2010s, that's when people started voicing their opinions. You had nowhere to voice your opinions for years, and then suddenly this new thing called social media has come around, where you can literally tweet anything you want to tweet, or I don't know what it's called now, text, I guess. So yeah, you've literally now have a platform where you can just tweet or post whatever you like about the show now. and like someone's gonna read it and agree with you. That's why you have Ballum fans. This is why they have Sucky Knee fans, and somewhat EastEnders gives into these fans. Not all of them. Not fucking Dave who's going. There's too many gay characters. Obviously, like the Sucky Knee being EastEnders obviously acknowledges the that ship. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's basically for years that nowhere to complain.
I won't necessarily agree with that wholly, as it's just it's simply we're both fairly young, so didn't really have the early days of the internet. I was on the internet fairly young, like 9 or 10, but even that's like late 2000s type time. You know, I missed out the old period of all of the EastEnders music videos and the tributes, so all of them back in the day. Still had forums to go on, you know. Still could make your own stuff on the internet. It wasn't all the void until Twitter existed. Obviously, like Facebook was an early adopter. You had fucking MySpace. You had all these platforms leaving your edgy little things on MSN, your little edgy comments like, I'm going away, not because I want to, because I've been forced to. And it's like, oh, you're right, mate, you're right. It's a song. Fucking hell, alright, sound. You know, but there was
I agree wholeheartedly.
But... And even the early internet, there were still forums and there were still places to share your takes. It's just, it probably wasn't as accessible as it is now. There we are. But yeah. Obviously, times have changed and ways people share their opinions have changed. Someone says, I genuinely have every episode from the beginning to September of 2023, currently up to 1992, and can already see a plethora of callbacks to past storylines. Original characters will always trump those who rehash similar scenarios to me, as they did at first. But that's not to take away from those who are tackling modern-day issues in episodes of the present, as they've not only had their own experiences to call up upon from when acting their roles, but an entire back catalogue of EastEnders that they've grown up on to refine their storytelling skills. EastEnders is timeless to me, and it says nothing, and it stays away from nothing. Where? As it says away from nothing, stays current, but at the same time never forgets its roots. Yeah, well, I don't know if I'd agree that EastEnders is timeless, but you can tell the errors that these are in, but you also probably couldn't place like, oh yeah, that's 2006. You know, like, obviously they had new technology at times. You go from having the fucking dodgy phones to the new phones, like, you know. Someone says, just to add on to why people are liking the current stuff, saying one of the best things 2023 has done is pay homage to the past and mirror storylines to play on nostalgia while framing them in the modern day. I mean, yeah, you can see a lot of the cruder aspects of Nish in Den, you know, where you can see a lot of the, you know, you can even see some of the ways that even some of the ways that Elaine likes to run the pub is very similar to fucking Den, or very similar to Peggy. Like, they do love to make the little callbacks, and it's a good thing when a show's not scared of its history. Because it's the fucking show. Like, it's EastEnders. It's been on for 38 years. Like, if you don't respect your history, how are you actually gonna not, like, look past it? Someone mentioned, obviously, the other day where Sharon mentioned the band. Obviously, her band, which was good fun. It was nice to have the little references. It's fun to be a fan, right? Someone says, hey, there's just someone's having a very nice conversation and a dynamic. And someone's saying how fucking hell. Someone just talking about the nuances and the pastiches of pastiche. No, just the nuances and the references to the past. Someone mentioned when Ben pushed Zach to reveal his HIV, and someone throws a callback to saying that Grant revealed Mark's HIV because he thought Mark's HIV caused Ben's meningitis. That meningitis affected Ben's hearing. And that was a cool little throwback to the fucking story 30 years ago when Mark's HIV was revealed. And I mean, even something we've seen fucking so many faces of Phil Mitchell just watching out the Christmas specials. Where in 2000 we have a very sympathetic but angry Phil, where he's fucking fed up because he's had a pretty rough go of it. Then you have 2003 when he's on the run, and he's like, why do all these women say they want me? And then they realise that they don't want any of me and they just drop me. Like, there was a dumb line like, why would you order a steak when you wanted, like, fish soup or some shit, you know? Like, everybody and we had fucking crying Phil Mitchell. We had sad, upset Phil Mitchell who's still just upset because every person he loves doesn't really want to love him. He knows he's damaged. And obviously in fucking, 2018, 2022, you just go, oh, what you fucking doing, bosh? You know, like, you can see the degradation of the character. And you can even probably look through and do the parallels as to how Phil was raised and how Phil being raised has led to how Ben's fucking grown up through time. And that is more so a big important one. And I feel like even Ben will have a lot of issues with raising Lexi simply because of how Phil raised Ben and how he'll want to give her a different life that he had when he grew up. I mean, Lexi lost a parent at like 10. Ben lost his parent at like 10. You know, there's all these lovely little fucking, all these lovely little kind of references and like idiosyncrasies that make for a cooler story. But yeah, that was quite wanky. That was quite wanky and indulgent. So, but it's another one of these topics which is fun to think about in this sense because we get to A, figure out where people are at in whether they're enjoying the show or whether they like it, and B, you can generally it's one of those things. Everybody's going to have their own personal take on it. My main take is, honestly, and maybe this will be dated if fucking Christmas is garbage, is I still think that 2023 EastEnders is the best it's been in a long time. And the way it's done that has been that they're not scared of embracing their history, paying homage to it, and wanting to build towards the future and create long-term plans, which creates things that people actually want to get invested in. It's like a fucking football club, where if they brought in a new manager and the manager's like, oh, do you want to do an interview? No. You're not going to get invested in the fucking manager because you don't know anything about them. You don't know what they're about. You don't know what they want to do. But if they say, look, here's the plans, here's what we're trying to do, this is how we're trying to do it. Oh, you lost. What went wrong? You know, you get all these fucking takes, and you get to find yourself as a fan getting more invested in something because you believe in it. And I think that's why EastEnders is heading to a golden age. And yes, I'm sure EastEnders has definitely been better in the past. But in a medium that's been going for 40 years, it's not all gonna be fucking gangbusters. Like, it's not every year's gonna be good. Times are rapidly changing. You're trying to adjust to do current storylines, but maybe the current storylines in 2 years are fucking outdated as shit and hot garbage. As you want to be a current show and you want to reflect current issues, well, you know, maybe you've done a fucking bad job because that's what it was at the time. But the simple thing is, there's been 38 years of EastEnders. They're not all going to be good. It's going to fluctuate. It's going to change through time. But I think the key point is simply being able to enjoy it whilst it's here, rather than not enjoying it at the time. Then in 20 years, you're going to be like, fucking hell, I was watching 2023 EastEnders and it's really fucking good. Why did nobody tell me? And everybody's like, we were telling you. You just didn't appreciate it at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, just gonna do a big stretch. Oh, fuck. I'll be back. Our hard work being a YouTuber, I tell you what, I tell you fucking what. Yeah, I agree. Oh fuck, I agree wholeheartedly with that. You have to enjoy things now. It's like, because we were all that shitty person who was like, music was better 20, 30 years ago, and then you're like, just enjoy music now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure. An example for me would be, yeah, sure, Blink 182 isn't Blink 182 from 20 years ago, but how far can singing about cock and bollocks get you in life, and vagina and dicks? Like, how far can that get you when you're in your 40s or 50s, and you can kind of have to sing about how life has changed? Because, like, if you still are on about fucking, oh yeah, my mother loves cocks, my mother loves dicks, my mother loves vaginas, how far is that going to get you? Let's be honest. When you're in your 40s, like, sure, you can still sing the hits from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Or you'll have to adapt. That's why, like, Limp Bizkit has adapted, I think. I don't know. I'm going to guess he did. That's
no,
why...
they fucking didn't.
I just want our one Limp Bizkit fan to appreciate that I mentioned them. That's why bands, like, try and improve and adapt. Most of them don't. But kind of like Paramore is not going to sound the same as Paramore from 2006.
To be fair, they're also the exception, because they kind of do. They didn't in like 2012, but they do. They actually sound very much like Paramore now, and it's kind of wild. Yeah, but you know, the point is they're trying to adapt to the time. Yeah, what flies in 08 doesn't really fly in 2023.
Yeah, that's why I say appreciate what you have now, because in 20 years, it's like again, another Blink example is there's an album called Neighbourhoods, and everyone shat on it in 2011. They're like, it's a fucking shit. Doesn't sound like Blink. Doesn't sound like Blink. It sounds like Angels in Airwaves. And it's like, and then like fast forward to like 2018. We're like, that album was great. Sucks. Fucking hate this new modern Blink. That album from 2011 was great. It's like, people will always fluctuate their opinions. What they like in 2023 will fluctuate what they like in 2033. If that makes any sense. So I just say, enjoy what you have. You won't have us forever. We're not going to be in our 60s shitting ourselves. Peggy Mitchell Jr. is a great character, guys. We're not going to be here. We're only going to be here for about 10, 15 years. We're not going to be fucking here for 20, 30 years reviewing 2055.
You never know, mate. If we get the bag. 20th year, watching Walford. Hey guys, Ash here from Watching Walford. I've been smoking for 20 years.
Piggy has died. He committed suicide. He's dead. Let's go.
Yeah, we get the bag in 20 years. I'll keep watching. I'm a soap fan for life, boys. But yeah, it's just
before I do my outro.
Yeah.
Before I do my outro and plug all the social medias, I am going to leave you with a dark joke that I made to my father. We were walking past the house and we saw a swing. My dad said, "Wouldn't that be fun to swing on?" And I went, "That'd be great to hang yourself out of." And I went, "It's Christmas. Please don't mention that." So I went, "Yeah, all right, sorry."
Not even a good joke.
It's not a good joke. It's just
I thought there was gonna be some fucking. I thought you were gonna be like, "Yeah, swing from a noose." Oh, you know, I just made a better joke for you.
Again, you can follow all our social medias.
Hold on. If you do suffer with any suicidal thoughts or tendencies, there are charities and helplines out there to help with. Obviously, we make jokes about it, but a lot of jokes come from pain and trauma. So
See,
it's a lot. It's a lot easier to laugh than it is to cry. Stop fucking jumping over the line. The line's there for a reason.
the problem is,
if it was a funny joke, I would have been happy. It was just. Piggy's gonna be editing the videos from now on.
Oh fuck!
I won't realise how much effort it actually is. Me just trying to gently tiptoe over the line. Piggy, I'm not fucking doing anything. Fuck you. I'm gonna roll out of bed. 5 minutes. I'm here to record. I'm sleepy. Oh, big stretch. Fuck you. Trying to pull us over the line. Not allowed to. When's my life gonna be calm? Not if you keep making them fucking jokes. Not even jokes. Just haha dead. Yeah. Public roasting.
Yeah. I appreciate it, mate. You know what I'm gonna do? See that comment there? Just gonna grab it like that and then just gonna.
But yeah, there we are. It's all in jest. Everything's fine. If you were annoyed or didn't like any of the jokes, direct all your complaints to Piggy. I am not a part of any of them, and I don't plan to be, so complain at Piggy and not me. I'm just trying to get by. There we are. Anything else to say? Was the show actually better in the past, or is it just nostalgia? Tell us in the comment section down below, which is the key point that we want to hear your take on it, because ultimately we may believe, yes, I kind of hate people who just, I don't hate people. Oh, fuck, I'm burping like a motherfucker.
Tell us how you truly feel.
I fucking hate people. No, I generally try to live in the present, as I kind of, my brain just kind of defaults to going, well, you're fucking stuck in the present, so just deal with it, you know? Like, you're stuck with doing this. It's like people are just like, oh, I hate my face, and I'm like, well, your face ain't fucking changing. You may as well fucking get used to it, you know? Obviously, it's not as easy as that.
You can get.
Yeah, but I'm not. I can't afford that, you know.
Well,
but the point is, time to get the bag. Hello, Watching Walford, sold for £5. But no, it is. I generally try to live in the moment now. I try to not just completely live in the past, as ultimately, if you keep living in the past and you're not in the past, you'll get sad because you're not in the fucking past. You're in the present. And, you know, you just have to fucking get through it. Some years aren't going to be your best years. Some years are going to be fantastic. It's all about getting there and being able to appreciate it in the moment. And that's what I'm trying to do this year with EastEnders, as it has been genuinely fantastic and has become my favourite soap this year, which has been a big surprise because EastEnders for so many years at this point has been absolutely fucking... EastEnders has been like my third or fourth favourite soap for the last couple of years, until this year, where it fully has like realised what it is. It's had writers and characters that have been redone and made significantly better, and that has allowed the show to genuinely be fantastic, and that is why it is my soap of the year for 2023. Do you agree or not? Tell us in the comment section down below. But I have been Ash from Watching Walford, and I've been joined by Piggy.
See?
Oh, I thought you were going to do the other bit. Have we already done the social medias?
Yeah, we already have done the social media.
Oh, fuck it. We've done everything 3 times in a row. Yes. Have fun. Tell us what you think. And as always, thank you for watching. Join us in the next time. Bye-bye.